This week we wanted to talk about an ad that made headlines around the world and aims to make an ass out of you and me.
Hey bartender, you assume that I cannot drink a margarita, so you don't serve me a margarita? So I don't drink a margarita. Your assumption becomes reality. And parents, you assume that I cannot live on my own, so you don't encourage me to live on my own, so I don't live on my own. And teacher, you assume that I cannot learn Shakespeare, so you don't teach me Shakespeare.
Old MacDonald had a farm.
So I don't learn Shakespeare. E-I-E-I-O. But hey, if all your assumptions become reality, then assume that I can drink a margarita. Will you serve me a margarita? Assume that I can live on my own. So I live on my own. Assume that I can learn Shakespeare. So, what fools these mortals be? I learned fucking Shakespeare. You assume I can't swear, right? Assume that I can do that job. That I can go to parties. That I can have sex. Assume that I can. So maybe I will.
I mean, it really inspired me, you know, to have a margarita. Just put a little bit in.
Why? Oh, why?
Yeah.
Karen, what do you think?
Look, I think this ad has gotten a lot of praise around the world, and rightfully so. I've worked in the category around health and you know, when it comes to the subject matter and we're trying to get a response from people, we have a habit of turning it into vulnerability and trying to invoke empathy from people. And I think what they've done here is brilliantly turned it around and gone, no, there's a personality here. What they probably wanted out of an action was they don't want a donation for anything. They don't want your sympathy. All they want is either you consciously or subconsciously start thinking about your behavior. And I think that's going to land that, because all of a sudden you go, hey, I don't mean to, but maybe I need to just start rethinking of that person in front of me as a person.
Nothing else does it than advertising, Will. Only advertising. Well, only advertising can get the entire world to think differently. And the entire... Right?
Yes, there has been nothing else in the history.
There hasn't. There hasn't.
Religion?
No, that's different. So the notion of assume that I can is a new thought that the entire world, I think, will accept, and as a result treat people differently. And only advertising can do that, right? So it doesn't matter how many, you know, documentaries or books you might write or seminars, doesn't matter, conferences. It does, all that's important, all that's very important. That's part of, you know, changing behaviour. But to actually summarise something as beautifully as they've done here, set it around the world, the whole world sees it, and as a result, people's lives are going to be different, just purely off the back of highly creative work, brilliantly executed with a line that says, assume that I can. And so, yeah, that is why I love this business, and that is why I love advertising. I love it when I see this stuff.
I think very simple insight. You know, assumption is the mother of all mistakes, and that can lead to stereotypes and self-fulfilling prophecy. But I think what makes it is Madison Devlin, the Canadian actress. And what's good about it is it's properly inclusive casting. So normally, and in a lot of disability advertising, they don't feature, or as you said, it's more about trying to pull your heartstrings. They don't give them the center stage. And in this case, they gave her the center stage, and she took it and she did it brilliantly.
I think even the craft of it, disability advertising, especially when we talk about the way that Down syndrome people are shown in advertising and in all media, they're often shot and lit and spoken about like they're special little angels, which adds to this idea that they're just these children when they're actually adults, and that's part of the actual discrimination that happens against them, where this is completely game-changing in the way that it talks about and casts Down syndrome people and shows them in a different way. They usually don't even let them speak, and often it's someone else talking about the person, where this time it's actually like it's her voice. She's speaking in active tense, so it's really about her commanding that presence. It's also really smart because it's not just an ad for the general public, which often can sometimes be like, whoa, empowerment, but it's actually speaking specifically to her parents, carers, to the teachers, the people that have to work or live around her, which are the ones who have those attitudinal barriers holding her back. What they're now understanding and trying to teach is that You give them the opportunities and support for them to take on challenges if they so choose. So it's done in such a way that it shows that the people who are doing that are coming with really good intentions. And so it means that when they're looking at this ad, they can be like, what role am I playing? As opposed to being like, you're bad, you're bad. And often discrimination advertising can come off like that. But this is actually about really embracing everybody involved in that journey.
And I thought the fuck was strategic and good, because just as you think she is playing on the assumptions and using the things that you would assume she would be talking about, she kind of changes. She gives you a little rug pull there in the middle.
Yeah.
But it's opened up a new chapter. That's the beautiful thing. Like the treatment of it, the way like this is going to compete with like Coke ads, beer commercials. It's putting it in just what everything in the advertising landscape looks like, a fun ad to watch, which you're going to just appreciate, which I think is brilliant.